Hey folks, welcome to the SIG Docs meeting. Today is September 19th, 2023. This is the bi-weekly Zoom meeting we have for Kubernetes SIG Docs. I'm your host today. I'm one of the co-chairs. My name is Ray Lojano. A few things to go over before we start. This meeting abides by the CNCF Code of Conduct. So that boils down to just be kind to everyone and to respect everyone. Also, let me go share the agenda. I have the agenda in the chat as well. I'll share my screen so we can review the agenda together. So we like to start off with folks who are new to this meeting or to SIG Docs. If you want to introduce yourself, feel free to go ahead and come off mute, and I'll give a few minutes here for new folks to introduce themselves.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I think I can introduce myself. I am Carol Valencia. I think I know a few of you. But right now I am the communications lead team in this release. And yeah, I think that will be my main introductions, that anything that we need to sync for the next blog feature release for this 29th.
Nice. Thank you, Carol. And welcome back. Carol has also been the release docs lead in the past as well. So thank you for all your work. All right, anyone else that would like to introduce themselves?
Yeah, I think I can help with that because I can see that more of my shadows, that is also James and Christine and Abigail. I think they could say hi because he will work also with me in this release. Christine?
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, just a reintroduction. I'm one of the comm shadows for 1.29, and of course I was the docs lead on 1.25. So I'm really happy to be working with Carol again.
Welcome back. Nice to see you again.
Hi, I'm Abby, so not a new contributor to this meeting at all, but new in the role of being a release comm shadow. So really excited to be part of the release team. Yeah.
Thank you, Abby. Abby also leads the localization subproject as well. Also the upcoming doc sprint that we'll talk about in a little bit. All right, thank you for all the 129 release team members. I think it's just a few weeks into the release, so I did see that shadow orientations are occurring currently. So yeah, so please update us during our bi-weekly meetings with how the release is progressing. All right, any other new contributors that would like to say hello? All right, so we can move on. Some updates and reminders. I am your PR wrangler for the week, so feel free to ping me on PRs. Shadowing me this week is forgive me for the pronunciation, but Ansh Roshan, and we did a one-on-one Zoom meeting yesterday to review just how I review PRs, the role of the PR wrangler. Went over the style guide and content guide as well. And we also reviewed several PRs yesterday. So if there's any questions, just feel free to ping me this week. Next week's PR wrangler is Taylor Dolezal, or also known as Only Dole. Next and the following week is Tim Bannister, so SF Tim. So that's 2 weeks from now. And there's a link to the PR wrangler shift on the agenda as well. Lastly, last reminders, if you notice any code of conduct violation during a meeting and during GitHub comments or Slack as well, feel free to reach out to the Kubernetes Code of Conduct Committee. Any questions before I go on to the agenda? All right, let's start off with the release 1.29. And this status, I believe, is from the docs team. I know the docs lead is at Open Source Summit in Europe. So that's Kat, but Kat has updated the mention on Slack that Kat has updated the agenda. So just reading off the agenda, shadow onboarding scheduled for tomorrow. We'll be scheduling the branch syncs as well, and who will deliver the release team and docs update as well. And the early docs release tasks are done. I also will have 2 more videos up. So I've been creating videos on how to do specific docs task for the release. And this is also including more on the tasks that are more likely done by a Kubernetes SIG docs tech lead or co-chair in Netlify, so that the knowledge isn't just kept within a few people, so that it is saved on YouTube for anyone to reference. So I will have 2 more. I think I have about 3 or 4 videos up right now, so I'll have 2 more up by the end of this week.
Hey, Ray, can you?
Hmm?
Oh, I'm sorry, never mind. I was just going to say if you had links to those, but I think that's what you've already done, right?
Yeah, so there's videos already done. I'll have a link to the playlist. Let me get the link to the playlist. I'll put it on the agenda as well, and you could just use the same link to the playlist, and all the new videos will be added to the same playlist. So let me see if I have that link. If not, I will send it in the agenda. I've sent it a few times on the release docs channel. I should probably save it in the description for the channel, just so that it's easy to find. But if not, I will update everyone shortly with the link to the YouTube playlist. All right. One of the tasks I'm gonna do, it's just it's with the new with the release -128 branch, and now we have an auto save and auto protect mode or auto feature for new branches. So I do want to note that there is a branch that was created, or tags that were created for the release -1.28, which is actually incorrect. So that should actually be made in December at the end of the 129 release. So I will go through the efforts to get that deleted. So if you do, you will see that currently that release -1.28 branch was incorrectly made. So I will go through the efforts to get that deleted. Right now with the changes, I could not delete it myself, so I will go through. I'll talk to the GitHub management team on how to delete that. I'm using that in my next video, so I'm not deleting it now. So on how to do some Netlify put a point to the release -1.28 branch. So any questions on that? Yeah, so that was with our auto protect feature. So any new branch we create, it's auto protected. So because it is we do have that, I have to find out how to delete branches now. Okay, Carol, do you have any updates on the comp side, or is it similar to the docs update as well?
Yeah, I was on mute. Yeah, we've already did the shadow, the onboarding session for the comps, and we will divide it between us about to track all the features of the 6. We are in this status that we will divide it to check our current blocks. I have one question also that I was seeing the issue that we have for improve the checklist about release docs and shadows that we open. I think is the 23, 24. I can put it here. That I was checking that you have hack markdowns, but maybe we could also include a little detail that how could be the communications between communications teams, no? What will be the checklist that we can do in each bi-weekly session that you have?
Yeah, I saw that for the docs release handbook side to have the checklist, but we could also do the same for the on the comp side as well. I know Mickey, who is working on that issue for the doc side, has for that checklist for the release docs team, has also been a comms lead as well. So I could also ask to have a similar issue for the comms team. If there's not, that one's already open, so we could work on that. So is that the one that you're referring to, or is there already? I see the issue you already have.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe you
yes.
can say an overview that what you expect, that maybe a checklist with the features, something like that can help.
Yeah. So on the docs side, since I've been a docs lead before, one of the so this is for the guidance or checklist to see if the status is green or red or yellow. Just a few of just just to summarize, what I would check for is if the weekly branch sync has been done or if the integration branch is healthy. We used to report on that every week where the integration branch is either healthy or not. Sometimes there is a merge conflict or you would need to rebase the integration branch. And so in that case, I would consider that yellow or red, depending on, probably red if it needs rebase or there's a merge conflict. So that it'll go in higher priority on to fixing to get that integration branch healthy. So those are a few items off the top of my head, depending on where you're at in the timeline as well. If it's X amount of days before deadlines, that would also affect the red, yellow, green status as well. If you have, if it's on the docs last deadline for let's say for docs, where docs are have to be complete. If you have many PRs to open, many PRs that need tech reviews, so those will be a red as well. And I don't know if we should add a number to that, or maybe we should have a guide to that. So we should have that added, in my opinion, to what should be counted as red, yellow, or green, because for the what we were getting last release cycle, and this came from the 128 release retrospective, was that we were getting a lot of green statuses. So we thought it was the cycle was going well, but it turns out there was lots of things behind the scenes that it may not have been green typically. So things like branch syncs have to be done weekly. Make sure that the integration branch is healthy. Make sure there's the PRs being for the docs for the release are being reviewed. Tech reviews are being done, or if they're not being done, that that the corresponding SIG has to be notified and requested. So those are some of the things, and we could do something similar with the comp side as well. Comp side will be more on the feature blogs to make sure that if there's a tech review for the feature blog as well, make sure there's a date that is scheduled, so that in the last release there was there's several blogs that were scheduled to go out on the actual release date, but the actual release date we typically save that just for the release blog, and feature blogs tend to go after the release date. So those are a few things off the top of my head for the comms side, is to have a schedule set up, make sure there's tech reviews as well done or assigned, or the folks can be assigned to do tech reviews for those blogs. Also make sure as well there's blog reviewers as well from the SIGDoc side, and a big one also is to have the schedule worked out, so that we're not trying to schedule things at the very last minute.
Okay, I think Ting, you are mute.
Yeah, just I hope this is obvious, and I'm going to say it anyway, even though I hope it's obvious. If you're not sure what color to something, if you think something might be green or yellow, probably highlight it as yellow, because then we can discuss it and say, hey, it's actually green. It's much better to say I'm not sure, it's yellow, than to say it's not sure it's green, because that, and then we're like, okay, it's green, and then we find out 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
So no problem in coloring it a sort of worse color. Be cautious like that, please.
+1, because green might get ignored, while
Yeah.
yellow will be looked at and red will be looked at. I'd rather have something marked as red than marked as green. And if there's even a slight issue, if it's red, I'd rather have it marked as red.
Yeah, and one question that I have also that I noticed that is mainly the blogs that will be published will be after the release. The communications teams has to help after the release 29 is done to tracking this, or how could be this, because it was like right now I see a lot of blogs and I didn't is responsible from 28 or that thing. Please help us with this.
The happy path is that the blogs are all ready before release day, and on release day we unfreeze the repo, we unhold those blog articles because we've held them, saying, well, we don't know, like maybe we'll cancel the release, maybe we'll postpone it for 3 months. But as soon as we know the release is done, we unhold 6, 12 PRs, and we sit back, we pour one and we go, that's all great, the automation will publish on the right days. This has never happened, but that is what we want to aim for.
That's a big +1. I think that if things are done on schedule and in a timely manner, that we do not have to do a lot of work after the release. That it'll be all done by the release day.
Now, I would say for this release, we had a real split. I think we had about 5 articles that did merge on release day that were ready to go. People were proactive. We had dates assigned, but we also had 2 articles that completely missed it. We had 2 SIGs that wanted to publish an article, and it was so much missed that those articles didn't get included. So a real spread. I'd love to skew that, tighten it up so that it's much more on the happy path. We're volunteers. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay that things didn't go right. And that's fine. But what we'd love to do is to get to that desired state, that like it's all happy and all the blogs are ready. The blogs were ready for review on the date they were due to be reviewed. There was enough review capacity to make it happen. Didn't need any rework or anything. And yeah, I think it's believable. There are bits of the release process that over the last few years have gone from difficult, fraught, problematic to it just works. Let's see if we can make this be one of them.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? I do also want to note, I always say this on the last release of the calendar year, that a lot of deadlines fall on around holidays. So we understand that. And it's with this release tends to be pretty much like a week short of the other release cycles as well. So we also understand that. So yeah, so we understand that there's more difficulties with scheduling for the last release of the calendar year. So yeah, we'll work with everyone on that. Okay. If there's no other questions or about the 129 release, if there are any, just feel free to ping us. Also use the release-comms channel and the release-docs channel as well. Also the SIG docs channel. Moving on, I don't see any issues in PRs on the agenda, but are there any issues in PRs that or PRs that folks want to bring up? I do want to bring more on, it was already merged though, but there is, and I can't get to my, how do I hide this? There is a new page under concepts, under concept/security, a hardening guide for authentication mechanisms. That has merged, but there is discussion that we might have a different place or different home for guides or good practices as well. So that is it might be a temporary home right now, but we might have a place, and we certainly have a number of good practice guides. I wouldn't say best practice guides, but hardening guides, security best practices as well. So they might have a new home, and so, but that is the placeholder, the home for now. I don't want to say temporary, but who knows? So that's a new page. Go to concept/security/hardening guide authentication mechanisms. And the SIG security docs, there's a docs subproject team under SIG security. They're working on other additional pages for a hardening guide. So there'll be other pages under hardening guide. All right, any other comments or questions on issues and PRs? All right, I'm going to go to questions and discussion points. I do like to highlight, we have open GitHub discussions, one on generative AI discussion, one on localization contribution updates, and when the issue wrangler as well. I did link the CNCF staff member Roberts with, I know the Ukrainian localization team is looking at some translation mechanisms. So I did link Robert to the Ukrainian localization Slack channel on that. We had a in-person discussion at Google Next about it. So so he is working on that on the LF side, or the Linux Foundation side. Other two GitHub discussions on localization and issue wrangler discussion. Issue wrangler is a new name role because we have many issues. We have a PR wrangler to review many of the PRs we have, but issues need to also be wrangled. So so if you're looking at ways to help help with contributions as well, there's also an issue wrangler role that is being created. Any questions on those three GitHub discussions?
Tim has his hand up.
Oh, Tim. Go
ahead. Maybe we need a discussions wrangler. The localizations one, 42409, says from August the 6th, this discussion item will be open for a period of 14 days, after which we'll be opening up an issue.
Yes, Tim, so, I am a bit behind on closing that and creating an issue. I think I forgot to actually hit save on a comment that I was going to add on that discussion, saying that I'm going to move it into an issue. But yes, I agree that one's on me. I had a rough beginning of September with a lot of family illnesses, but we're back on track now. But I agree. I definitely think that one in particular is my my bad, and I'm moving into an issue hopefully this week. But yeah, agree.
All right, and I know there's some work efforts moving forward with the issue wrangler. I have not looked at the closely, but I know that I did see some earlier, either late last night or earlier this morning. Any other questions? All right, a new one. The CFP is open for KubeCon, Cloud Native Con Europe in Paris. So put the link in the agenda. The CFP closes November 24, I believe, or 26. So it feels a little bit earlier this time, but maybe it's around the same time as we've done before. So I just want to have that out there. Also, I want to make a note at this year's KubeCon in North America in Chicago in November, there will be a doc sprint at the Contributor Summit. Put Abby's name down here as Abby is going to be helping out or leading that effort. And so that I put a link to the registration as well, or the events page on the Contributor Summit. I do have another obligation. The company I work for has a 0-day event at the same hotel site, so I'll be going back and forth. So I don't know how much I could participate in the doc sprints, but I will pop up. I will pop my head in once in a while. All right. Any other comments or questions or discussion topics that people want to bring up? All right, we'll stop the recording. I could find out where.